I suppose this is a kind of summary video in a way, and I'll try and keep it short if I can, summarising all the other videos. The whole point in those things: meditation, Vedanta, how to meditate, non-dualism, and so on and so forth. The question would be, or the question I ask myself now is, what then do I believe? Is this a belief system? Do I believe all these things? There being no time, or a timeless nothing that you can tune into, and so on and so forth. I'm a fan of science. I like science, but at the same time I've always been drawn to mysticism in some way. I feel drawn to mystic things, and something in me still feels like there's space for something mystical. And I also feel that I doubt that lots of people would have spent so much time investing so much in mystical traditions if there wasn't something to it, kind of thing. However, we are in the world that we are in, and unavoidably, and that's a mystery in itself. So, is there space for any of this mysticism in my scientific world? Well, yeah, because science isn't finished yet, and I would imagine that the mysticism we're talking about isn't really mysticism, but it's the fundaments of nature. Nature just is that way. I don't believe there is a God, if we're talking about a personalized God that watches everybody and sees what you do and punishes you and sends you to hell. That's complete balderdash anyway. That's human created. Obviously human created, as far as I'm concerned. The idea of a God as a entity outside of the universe, I can't really go for that either. It's going to be natural. It's going to be the fundament of nature. I don't think there can be a separate thing, two separate things, a God and the universe. It will be one and the same thing. Supernatural and natural things that we don't understand as yet, and so we call them supernatural, like lightning or anything else. And once we understand them, we go, right, it's natural. So I don't really go for supernatural. I think maybe there are things at the moment that we would describe as supernatural or beyond our explanation of nature that will eventually turn out to be perfectly natural processes. So a God in the sense of a natural process going on that is a mystery to us and seems wondrous and miraculous to us, if you want to call that God, yes. And I think it's probably deeper and more complex for us than we imagine, although I think in itself it's simplicity. If you were to look at the laws that govern this thing, they will be simplistic. It will thrive on simplicity and create through simplicity. So, no mystic being, natural processes. But do we have any access to these natural processes and anything mystical then within them? Well, possibly, in the sense that the natural process has rules, maybe like mathematics. It has rules, it has laws that govern it, or it produces manifest bunch of laws that govern it. And like a hologram, the whole is repeated in all of its parts, so that maybe we can access those fundamental laws, that fundamental code, because we are part of the process. That would seem perfectly reasonable to me. We are a part of the process repeats itself in everything. We get to be retainers or holders of the natural laws or formulae that govern the whole. So possibly in a holographic kind of way, we hold the key to the code, and it's in everything then. But that's not mystic as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there is anything mystical in that sense. I think it's natural. It's a description of the natural world, and I think that's probably what the Vedantists, the old Vedantists and the yogis came up with and discovered for themselves, that it's access to a deeper layers of the natural world and natural processes, and not that it's anything mystical or magical. So what use then is all of this and meditation? Well, meditation's a lot more useful than just mysticism. It's beneficial to your health, mental and physical. We can now research it a lot better and find out that it has a lot of properties and characteristics that are beneficial to us. So that's good. And I think stillness generally in a mad world is a good idea, to just generally be still for a while, quiet, appreciate stillness, appreciate nature is a useful thing. I'm very fortunate to have a lot of nature around me. Some people don't, and that's terrible. I couldn't imagine living without access to nature. It's incredibly valuable, I think, and it's a place where stillness of mind naturally occurs, because again, I feel that you're sort of near the source. Everything else is the program just running, and you feel that when you're in a natural environment. Things are just occurring as they occur, unfolding, if you like. So gods and demons and angels and mysticism, much as there's a part of me that would like to all that to be true, just like when I was a kid it was monsters, ghosts and UFOs and Sasquatch. I unfortunately think that probably isn't the case, and I'm not sure whether that would be a good idea if it was the case, angels and devils and things. But no space for mysticism. But the mysticism of the natural world, and we are, I fear, or I believe, a long way away from understanding the natural world. Science always thinks it's on the cusp. Theoretical physicists, not many of them, I suspect now, but you know, back in the day, thought they were on the cusp. You know, oh well, we can wind up physics then because it's all done and dusted, is what they thought, sort of back in, I don't know, 1920s, 1930s or something. In any case, or just before then, before Einstein popped up, I suppose. In any case, I think we're a long way away from any kind of theory of everything and explaining the natural world, because we have no idea where we are in the universe. We see only what we see, and what we see is very little. So I think we're a long way away. But I like to think that there's the mushrooms down there. Hiding. Spotted them though. I like to think that there's a lot more to come, and that's a mystery, and that's where the mysticism is hiding, and that there are scientific principles and natural laws and natural phenomena left over that we still have no idea about, and that maybe one day we'll be able to investigate those as well, and we might find that some of those things are things that were at some time described as something entirely different. You know, what we would now describe as something mystical. So that's where I stand. Still an atheist, or an agnostic, tending towards atheism, depending on your description of you think God might be, and yet still leaving a door open for an explanation for the mystical, whatever that might mean, in the world. Because I do think the world is mystical. I mean, just look at nature. It is incredible. And we know that our faculties are not to be trusted. We know that we don't possess the faculties to read nature as it actually is, or the natural world as it actually is. And there is something amazing about this process. Like I said, why would swirls of milk and coffee swirl like galaxies in the universe? Well, a scientist would say because natural laws are governing everything from the coffee to the galaxy. So there's a similarity because of natural laws that force things to function in a certain way. But I would still say, well, that shows me that there's some kind of pattern going throughout everything then, probably. Because otherwise, why wouldn't we just have sort of arbitrary laws? Milk does this, but galaxies are square. So there must be some kind of pattern, and it's not a pattern that is just governing leaves on trees here, but it's governing the entirety of the universe as far as we can see, observable universe. That's pretty fascinating. So yes, I think there seems to be a pattern going on, and I find that fascinating. And that pattern is obviously very big and also very deep. And that's sort of what fascinates me. That's the mysticism as far as I'm concerned. And that makes life and everything a lot more interesting and detailed and fascinating, and much more fascinating than just having a steadfast idea of a God. This is God, this is what he does, this is what he looks like, this is what he wants, these are the rules that he wants you to follow, and end of story. Not for me. Now look at this forest, because it's fantastic.